welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here for our Facebook Live. Today I have Shelley and Dr. Amanda
Hello.
and myself, Carrie. We're the team of the Health Shift Project. And in the month of October, we have been talking about grief as our topic. And grief can be more than just a loss of a loved one. It could be, as we talked about in September, transitions. Transitions can cause grief. You know, we may have gone through a change of job, a move, the aging process. It could be a number of things, and those kinds of big transitions can cause you to go into a grieving process. And so some of the things that we've been talking about in the Health Shift Project is support around your grieving process. And today we want to ask you, do you give yourself permission to grieve? And I would like to pass it over to Shelley, and she's going to talk a little bit about how she gives herself permission to grieve.
Hi, thanks, Carrie. Yeah, I thought a lot this month about what I wanted to offer in the group and to our membership, and drawing a little bit from my trauma-informed yoga training and then my own personal experiences with grief. I thought about how I would share the things that kind of helped me get through those times, and even now processing grief. This is kind of a more difficult time of year for me. It's the time of year I lost my brother, and so I really every year at this time kind of go through that feeling of revisiting grief. So what I'm doing for myself right now, and what I want to share in what I'm offering in yoga this month, is just the idea of allowing yourself permission, like Carrie mentioned earlier, permission to grieve, and then carving out that time for yourself, giving yourself permission to carve out that time. So I know I often come to guilt sometimes when I'm kind of thinking about taking that time for myself. Either guilt, like I actually should be doing this in my life right now, or I have these time constraints, but also a little bit of guilt sometimes when you lose someone about moving forward. But again, the healing process is so important. So really taking that time for yourself. And for me, yoga has always been the space I create for myself to heal. I take that time, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's an hour, to just give myself time on my mat to just focus on healing my mind, my body, and giving myself that permission to do that. And it makes me actually a more solid and a more solid person, and it takes me more to a feeling of healing in myself, like intellectually, emotionally. So just taking that time for yourself. And for me, like, as I mentioned, it's yoga, but it might not be that for everyone, but it's finding that thing that you do. If it's going for a run, if it's just going for a walk in nature, just taking that time for yourself to let yourself find some healing. And for yoga in this month in the group, I'm leaning towards creating a practice of safety. For me, I find that important. And when I was going through the grief process of losing my brother, finding protection was really important to me. So it's that balance of kind of finding protective poses where you're kind of protecting your front, kind of drawing in. So that can look like forward fold, that can look like child's pose. And then from that place of safety and feeling protected, exploring a little bit the edges of that, where you can come out a little bit and open up, and exploring how good it feels to kind of open up a little bit before you need to go back into protection. But the primary focus being of just finding that feeling of safety in your life. And we're going to explore what that looks like in a yoga practice.
Nice. That's so beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. A couple of things that I thought of when you were talking about that, and I've used yoga in a similar way to try to get the message through to my body about what it feels like, and noticing what it feels like to be in that more. I was talking about it as a cocoon in one of my posts this month, and what it feels like to go into that almost hiding and just like alone. I don't want anything else around me. I just need to be left alone for a bit, and having that tightness and that closeness of something on you. And contrasting that with what you were talking about, the open poses, about something opening up around your chest, and then figuring out, how does that feel? How does that feel? Do I like it? Do I not? Okay, back down into the clothes. And a couple of things that I'm offering this month is more on the on teaching about the stress piece, the nervous system, and the psychological part of it. And I think it's so important that we have both pieces of the grieving process going, where there are times when you need to talk about your situation, right? And I'm sure you find this, where you want to connect with people who knew your brother, or and ways to be able to talk about and memories and what it was like for you, and people who and feel known and feel heard, and be able to voice all of that is one huge important part of it. But then we can't do that all the time. We can't stay in just talking about it and grieving in a way of crying, or grieving in the way of thinking about what's lost. But I feel like you're talking about here taking it to the mat, taking it to the opposite aspect of that, which is then finding ways to create safety, to create different feelings within your body, that isn't talking, that isn't just repeating a story, although that part is so important, right, to connect with people and be with that. But I think that's something we really want to offer in the Health Shift Project, is the skill and the tool of, when it's not time to discuss or to be in a counseling relationship, then what do you do? What do you do with that sensation of, I need help, I need support, and then being able to take your tools that you're offering and go to your mat and notice what's happening within your body with it. And that's a different focus than noticing what your thoughts are, or what noticing your life, or what's missing or changing in your life. It's a different focus to go inward and help to heal your body. And the purpose of that is to drop that stress response, and to be able to, only when you do that movement and do that self connection do you find safety and find that feeling. So yeah, I think I feel similarly to how you do, Shelley.
Yeah, I like that. I like I like you're talking about finding balance. And I think that's so important. We do, you're talking about getting in your head. And I do think it's important, exactly what you're saying. And I've shared with you guys kind of how I'm feeling right now. And that's wonderful. Like, we've talked about how, and I'm just sharing how this time of year is really difficult. That's the story. And it feels good to get it out. It feels good to verbalize that and have that, that bond, that intellectual and emotional sharing. And then, the balance of that is then like, okay, that's a form of healing. Talking, talking it out with your friends, sharing those emotions, connecting with others. And then the other part, connecting with yourself, taking that time to heal, to take the time for yourself to connect to yourself and heal yourself. So that balance of connection. I like that, that parallel you put there. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. As you were both talking, like, I can really resonate, Shelley, with what you were saying. And then when you were saying about the communicating, like, because I was kind of in my own brain processing, when I am in a grieving process, what is it like for me? And I do need that balance of the alone time, but I need to communicate. I need to talk it through. And that's really important to me. And the other thing that was coming up too, when I was thinking back to a time when we had a loss of a loved one, and my husband and I were both grieving, and he's experiencing it very different than me. And kind of back to the permission is, okay, I've given myself permission to grieve in my process, but am I giving permission to my husband to grieve the way that he grieves? Because I was kind of feeling a little frustrated at times, like, well, talk to me, talk about it. And it's like, hold on, like, he's grieving in his own way, and I need to give him permission to grieve in his own way. So that's what was in my mind as well. So
I really like that. It's like, I think we're talking about making space. It's like making space for others, allowing them their process of healing, and making space for yourself to allow yours. But I like that element you brought in about thinking about allowing others to have their space to grieve in the way that they need to. There's
Yeah,
no right
even
or
though
wrong
it
for
looks
anyone.
weird to us,
Yeah.
it might look,
Yeah.
weird and we don't understand it, but
There's no
Mhm.
one right way. There's
No.
no one right amount of time. There's no one system that's going to work for everyone. Yeah, definitely an exploration and a permission to do that exploration.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great.
And I love that you said there's no one right system. And so I feel that what we're offering with the Health Shift Project is we're offering some tools and some ideas that we hope that when, you may be going through a grieving process, that we hope that things that we're offering to you can help support you through that process and might give you maybe new ways of thinking of how to deal with this and new tools. So we hope that you're enjoying what we're offering, and we'll continue to be here for you. If you do need some support, please reach out to us and let us know. And we hope that you will join the Health Shift Project. There's just another couple of weeks to join at an introductory offer. And so please go to our website at thehealthshiftproject.com and look into joining our community. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day.